So any problems while selecting your topics? Any issues while using Padlet? Or if you have any questions about Teams, or everything is okay? No problem at all.
No problem for me, Alex.
You got
I
one?
think when I selecting the topic, um, I was always not sure about my topic. Is it too common or is it too general?
Okay, that is a valid issue because that's why I started off this course with you guys doing this task because the first step is always the hardest, the selection of the topics. Can I ask you guys, did you start to contact with your potential supervisors, or how, or you just go look at developing your own topics for now? Does anyone contact anyone from your lecturers, the past lecturers?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. Okay, how about anyone else?
No, I didn't, doctor.
Okay, so this is basically your own topics then. Yeah. Anyone wants to share? Because the thing is, I will have to discuss with the lecturers as well whether because how it happens like previously while you're developing your your proposal, it would be also good if you can start engaging your potential supervisor, because it's going to be easier for you while developing your methodology. They can give you some inputs as well, or otherwise.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay, maybe
Didn't
I
know we
should.
could ask our advisor.
Yeah, because especially for BPAS lecturers, there's only I think 7 now. Dr. Mariana is on leave, so she's not going to be here for the next 2 years. So there's only a very limited lecturers come supervisors for you guys to choose. Okay, so because in this course, I'm going to guide you to prepare your proposal, but the way it works is that you're going to use that proposal for your FYP. So it would be good if you can start, contacting potential supervisors so that you don't have to, next semester you have to change everything. I don't want you to undergo that because that's going to be very, very challenging. Yeah. Okay, maybe we can start. I think it's okay for people who needs to join later. I'll just reply to the group. Because the session is recorded anyway. So if you guys miss some part, then you can always come back and refer to it again. So yeah. Okay, thank you to everyone who made it. So this is our tutorial session, sort of. So this week, we're gonna look at how, from your topic, you come up with your research statement, your research problems, and your hypothesis, okay? So yeah, we did this already. So I think Padlet, I've gone through what you guys submitted already, okay? And I did do something. I haven't done anything in Padlet itself, but you'll see later on what happens. So I think, like I said before, choosing your research topic is very, very challenging, okay? Especially when you're starting out, because maybe you don't know what you want to do, okay? But there are guides. So we'll try and look at that after this. Now, yes, it involves a lot of thinking. You can also discuss with other people. Yeah, so you search in known literature. I'm sure a lot of us go to Google. Uncle Google is the go-to, guru here. But it also would be good if you guys can look at, academic journals, academic papers, textbooks. That's also something, because usually, for example, articles in Google, they don't have enough references. So you might be able to get a general problem, issues, but you have to go back to journals and academic papers basically to get the full idea. Right. Just one thing, I just want to remind you guys, our test one, okay, the introduction bit, this one is due 13th of November. So try and keep that in mind. So we still have a little bit more than 2 weeks left. Okay, so hopefully you can get that going. Now, so this is, I'll just go very briefly. I know that this is a tutorial session, but I put all of this in here. As you're going to see, there's going to be a lot of text, but I'm not going to go through everything, because I will share this afterwards for you for self-study and for you to guide while you're doing your research problems and hypotheses. Okay, so we'll just go through very briefly. I'm going to skip some things as well. So this is the basic approach of doing research, okay? So this is just to give an idea. So what people say is the hourglass notion of research. So you begin with very broad questions, okay? So you got a, for example, I look at Padlet and I see a lot of people are interested in waste management. Okay, so that is quite broad. It's a very big topic. There's a lot of things you can do there. So you narrow down, you focus on operationalize. So what this means is what exactly you want to look at. So are you going to look at the treatment? Are you going to look at people's opinion? So something like that. So when you do your observation, okay, this relates to your methodology. Okay, so you, like I said this morning, your quantitative or qualitative methods, you use that to observe your intention here, and you get your data, and then you analyze your data, you reach your conclusions, and then you generalize back to the questions. So basically you have questions here, you try to answer them, and then lastly you say, okay, does what you're finding answers this question? Okay, so I hope you can get, that's a very basic general idea about research. So ways to select for topics. So you can go through this afterwards, because this is for guidance. So if you have personal experience, if you look at, what went viral in the news, for example, with water problems nowadays in Selangor this year, how many times has that happened? Okay, so you go through very basic, very broadly at the topics. So you can read this afterwards. And these are some questions that could help you to, point, not point out, basically to get to where you want to go. So is the problem the current interest? So is it relevant? Okay. So is it an ongoing problem, or is it something that happened in the past? Yeah. So this basically is to highlight whether the problem that you want to solve is important or not. Okay, because we always relate research to something that is important, that has an impact to the current situation or current problems. Okay, so you always want your research to be important. So apply this to your own research that you're going to do, okay, in your proposal. Think back, ask these questions, whether the topic has enough relevance, whether it's detailed enough to answer these questions, okay. Now, so I go interchangeably between title and problem because it's basically fits each other. So you look at the problem, what is the current problems, then you think back to what type of topic you want. Okay, so it's interchangeable. So I always say this to my students, your title in the first place, it's a working title. It's not strange that when you start off, you have one title, and at the end of your dissertation, you have a completely different one, because it really relates back to how you're doing your research. Okay, so not saying that choosing a title is not important, but it's important in the initial steps because you really want to know what area you're going to do your research in. Okay. Also, what's important to highlight is during your problem statement, okay, while you're writing your problem statement, there's a lot of research you have to do. Okay, so we call here literature search. So this is where you go to, I mean, the easiest would be Google. So if you really want to search for information using Google, it's easier to go through Google Scholar, okay? Google Scholar because it has, oh my God, my handwriting. Sorry, guys. Google Scholar. So because with Google Scholar, there's a lot of their papers, their articles are academic papers. So it's more geared towards you rather than when you go on normal Google search, you might find like some news, people on blogs saying something. So usually they don't have enough references there. Okay, so I would suggest Google Scholar. But next week, we're going to have a class on literature search. So we're going to have someone from the library to help you guys, guiding you to search for literature, okay, using a lot of different tools. So that's for next week. Now, okay, yeah, you can read all of this actually. So example here, okay, what is the best way to solve climate change? Okay, that is it's quite broad. So you don't really know, okay, best way, what way? Is it like you're saying things about technology or you're saying about people's, opinion, behavior? So it's not clear there. So you have to look at what are the variables, what will be measured, okay? What is the population that you're targeting? So those are the types of questions that you can look at. So a better example would be like this: assessment of carbon capture and storage, CCS technologies. I'm not sure if you know about CCS technologies, but if you don't, then can look at it. It's quite interesting. So you see the problem here, the carbon emission. All right. To whom? So oil and gas industry, okay? And what you want to assess is the carbon capture and storage technologies. So you get everything there in the title. So that's an example of a very good title, okay? Now, this one, you can look at that afterwards. So I listed down all types of sources of problems that you can think about, when you look at your title, your broad title, when you're trying to narrow it down, you can look at all of this. You want to, for example, if you're targeting a problem, what are the issues? Are you looking at the issues, or actually are you looking at what certain population is having? Okay, so that will direct you a little bit, give you guidance. Okay, now, what is a research question? Okay, so what is research question? So research questions are questions that you're trying to answer while you're doing your research. So it's just that they are questions that you come up with when you're selecting your title, okay? So I gave you, the example here is quite general, okay? For example, if you're studying effects of sleep, okay? I know as students, especially now that we're working, virtually, your sleep pattern might be really, really haywire. You might go to sleep at 2, or you might go to sleep in the morning. I don't know. I go to sleep at 2. I wake up early, so sometimes I don't have enough sleep. So you want to look at the effects of sleep on reflexes, for example, so your attention span. So you might formulate the following research questions. Okay, what are the effects of sleep on reflexes? So the similar question, because there are a lot of questions you can ask there. Okay, and the way you ask that question will guide you on how you want to proceed with your research. So it will relate to your methodology, your objective. Okay. Now, okay, so I've mentioned this already. Goal of your research is to find the answer to the research question. Okay. Okay, remember, research questions should guide you. Okay. And you can have more than one research question. Yeah, that's not, we don't have a limit, but don't have too many questions because you're going to get lost trying to answer everything. So how you select how many, usually for undergraduate study, people would try to limit it to 2 or 3 major questions, okay? Because then you relate to your objective. So if you think about it, your research objectives are actually answers to your research question. So if you have the same statement, basically, so research question is in question form, and your objective is actually in statement form. It's the same thing. Okay, should a research question be general or specific? It should be specific. Okay, like I mentioned before, it's supposed to guide you. If it's too general, then you might not be able to look at the scope of your study. You're going to go too broad, too diverse. It's not going to help you in the end. So I give you also some techniques to narrowing down your topic, okay, and your research question. So we will, I don't know, maybe I won't go through everything because it's going to take a lot of time, okay. So basically, yes, examine the literature. I've told you about this before. And then you can also talk about your ideas with others. That's what I try to facilitate using Padlet. Okay, so I know that I said submission has ended, but you can continue to comment. And of course, because I haven't commented yet as well, so I will do that periodically. Okay, so don't worry, I will give feedback on all of you. Don't worry about that. So it's going to be open for now. Then, yes, define aim of the study. That's very, very important. Okay, because if you have an aim, a specific aim, and then you can get your topic as specific as it gets. Right. So, what is a hypothesis? So, hypothesis is a statement that can be proved or disproved. Okay, it's a very general statement. So, it's basically why we're doing this tutorial today, because topics, research question, research statement, objective, hypothesis, they all relate to one another. And these are all things that you have to look at while doing your test 1 for your proposal, okay, your introduction section. So what is a null hypothesis? So you can read more about this. We'll try to get it a little bit more clearer. So null hypothesis is actually the hypothesis that needs to be disproved. So it's basically a statement that while you're doing your research, you want to disprove. You're saying it's not true. Okay, So if we look at the sleep deficiency example before, so my null hypothesis would say, no, there's no correlation at all between lack of sleep and my reflex. So I have no problem with my reflex, and it's not due to my sleep deprivation. Okay, so that is the null hypothesis. So what you're going to do next is you try to prove that that statement is wrong. So that is null hypothesis. I hope that you can get it. It's kind of a roundabout way, but it's how it is. So yeah, null hypotheses are used in sciences, okay, in scientific method particularly. So there are research where you don't have null hypothesis. Okay, it is possible. Usually in the descriptive research, if you look at what we learned this morning, apart from that, some qualitative research don't have null hypothesis either. Okay? So it really depends on, well, back again, what you want to do in your research. Okay. Right. Yeah, you can read about this later on, I hope. So deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning as well, this one is basically how you want to approach a problem. Okay, so it's either in deductive thinking, you start from theory. Okay, you have a lot of theories, you have your problem, okay, and then you look at in the literature and you find your theories, and from there you develop your hypothesis, okay, and then go towards observation and then confirmation, then you get your conclusion. That is deductive thinking. But at the same time, inductive thinking is the other way around. So from observation, okay, usually this relates to problems. So if you have a problem right now, you look at the pattern, okay, and from the pattern you develop your hypothesis, and then you get your theory. So that's it's not too important, I would say. I mean, you have to know this, what is inductive and what is deductive, but it's not particularly something that you are going to use in your research. It's only that I just want you to know how you can look at developing your research, okay? Either from observation or you look at the theories first. Okay. Right, so we come to here. So actually what I want to share today for our sort of tutorial is, do you guys know about Deepwater Horizon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so what happened in Deepwater Horizon? Can anyone?
The platform blew out.
Yeah, okay. There's some, so there's a BP offshore setup, okay? So they have where they do the oil. So it's about, can't remember, 440 miles. So it's in deep sea. And there was a fire, there was an incident with the offshore plant. And then it leads to fire, it leads to the spill of oil. So even now, so this is 2 years later, but actually it's almost 10 years if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of problems that are, still that you can trace back to Deepwater Horizon, what was happening. So I don't know if you guys want to watch this. So this is actually, you know that there's a film based on the Deepwater Horizon incident. Have any one of you watched it? I think it was Mark
Yeah,
Robert.
Yes.
already.
Already watched, huh? Good. So it's an incident. It's a very unfortunate incident. I think there was 11 people died, but the effect, the environmental effect is really, really bad even until now. You know, it's not only towards the industry, it's towards, you know, fishermen, towards the ecosystem. There's a lot of problems over there. So what I want you guys to do today, well, we'll do this together actually. So what are the problems that relate to Deepwater Horizon? If anyone can say, it's just you know, a sharing session. Maybe what you think is the problem that leads to not leading to Deepwater Horizon. So what are the environmental problems that is caused by Deepwater Horizon? If anyone can just share, just give me like one sentence. So when you watch the movie, so what happened to FYI, I haven't watched the movie so I don't know what's happening in the movie. But okay, guys, any environmental problems that relates to Deepwater Horizon?
Oil spill.
Oil spill, okay. Okay, others? So in oil spill, what is actually the problem? So we have to develop, so this is how we're gonna do, I mean, you have to do this with your own topic as well, okay? So this is one way of doing it. We're looking at events that already happened, and then we try and look at what are the problems that maybe we can try to solve, okay? So oil spill, yes, this is the thing that happened, but what does it cost to the environment? Oops.
Water pollution.
Water pollution.
You are right. Okay, so apart from that, so we also find there's a lot of these very little tiny things in the oceans that is the key to life in the ocean actually. Okay, there's a lot of problems there. Anything else? So how, okay, so from oil spill, we have these environmental problems, right? Another thing to look at it is also what are the, because not only we have environmental problems, we have socio-economic problems as well. So if you look, if you're an economist, okay, and you look at BP, BP was the company, the oil and gas company that is, so the plant is theirs basically. So what happened to BP? So if you're an economist, you want to look at what are the effects of this incident, this Deepwater Horizon incident, towards the companies, maybe their, sorry, let me just share this one. Oh, why? Okay. Right. So I did list some of that. Okay. So environmental impact, for example, ocean, the aquatic ecosystem, socioeconomic, you know, with the fishing. I've some of the news that I've looked at, they had problems with the fishing yield. So there's a lot of so it used to be, I think, 8,000 tons of fish per week, and now they only got like 400 tons per week, and that is not even close to the where it happened. It was around 400 to 500 miles away. So there's a lot of problems relating to this incident. Okay, so the problem statements or the research questions that you can develop from this is related to the problems. Okay, so if we look back at Okay, if we look back at this oil spill problem, maybe one of the research questions that you want to come up with is how you want to tackle the water pollution problem in this situation. Okay, but that is still quite broad. So you can try and give, for example, a technique. So one of the techniques they use dispersion, okay, to handle the oil spill problem. So what you can do is there, let me just write it down. Effects of dispersion on.
Doktor, nak tanya boleh?
Yep.
Contohnya saya ambil untuk tajuk saya water spill, oil spill ni. Lepas tu kita kena fokus ke semua efek ke? Contoh efek dia oil spill ni water pollution, aquatic ecosystem.
Oh, no. Okay, so
So kita kena fokus kat satu efek je ke? Ke macam mana?
Okay, the best way ialah, should I speak in Malay? Do we have our Chinese friends? I will just answer in English. Yeah. So the selection of how many factors you want to look at, it depends on your research scope. So usually you can either decide yourself or you can discuss with your supervisor, because it also depends on, do you want to do experiments or what do you want to do? Is it case study, or do you have an idea right now? So if you're trying to do experiments, that might limit you in how many factors that you can test. Okay, that's why I said it's going to be easier if you guys can contact your potential supervisors, because they would know what instruments they have. Okay, so from there they can guide you, okay, to select these factors, for example. Okay, so in my opinion, no, you don't have to do all the factors, okay? Because when you're doing oil spill, there's a lot. Are you going to look at the factors causing oil spill, or you want to look at the effects of oil spill towards the ecosystem, for example? So if you're specifically oil spill to ecosystem, then you can look, maybe you can look at aquatic, or you can look at very specific things as well. That's also possible. Okay, I hope that answers your question. So going back to this one, effects of dispersion on deep water horizon. Sorry, so it's not finished yet. Effects of dispersion on oil spill. During deep water horizon. Okay, so maybe you can, so that could be a research question, right? And then your problem statement would be, you can list down what are the known effects of dispersion in the literature. Okay, so this is your problem. Now your statements is potential effects of dispersion. This is your problem statement. Then you can look at the hypothesis, okay? So your null hypothesis would be, there would be no effect of dispersants towards oil spill, Okay, that's how you go about developing your research introduction step by step. Okay, hypothesis is there, and your objective is what is your aim. So if you think about it, I want to look at the effects of this person towards oil spill. So remember the problem statement, the research question. Questions. So remember I said before, your objectives will answer the questions. So that's what I mean. So it's a play on words, of course, but it also, how you develop that requires thinking. You have to have some knowledge about this issue or this field, basically, because only then can you develop that. That's why it requires you to read. Okay, have to read a lot. You can discuss, you can search for information. Right. So I think we covered. Sorry. Sometimes it doesn't work. My keyboard. Oops. Yeah. So any questions for now? Like if you have specific questions about your topics, maybe.
No.
So, yep. Perfect.
Doctor, so the objectives need to be answers to our research question.
Yes. Objectives are answers. My God. Usually my handwriting is not this bad, but I'm using my pad here. So it's, oh my God. All right. So your objective could be, so if you look at previous, maybe if you have your seniors, thesis or something, objectives, I have to highlight here, they always start with 2, okay? 2, dot, dot, dot. So because objectives are your aims, basically what you want to do. So here, maybe to assess, to assess the effectiveness. There is one way you can do that to answer that question, to assess the effectiveness of these persons. Okay, so it will, you will try to develop that to answer your questions. So remember, you can have more than one question, okay, but try to limit your questions and objectives to 3. So usually for bachelors, they will ask for either 2 or 3 objectives, and that would be enough for you guys. Okay, talking about this, I have highlighted before that it's good for you to start contacting your potential supervisors. Okay, you can go to the faculty/department website, and you can look at their expertise. Okay, that's one way to go about it. Or if you know already your lecturers, what they teach, and you think that your topic is related to that, you can start contacting them as well. Another thing is, yes, you have to submit your test 1 by 13 November. Okay, so I hope that you can use your starting topic that you submitted in Padlet as start off, but you can start trying to narrow it down, okay? Because there are some submissions that are quite general. Okay, it's good that you can already identify the topic, the field of topic, but then try to use these steps and techniques that I've included in this tutorial, so you can really highlight, what's exactly the thing that you want to do. Right. So Okay. Now we have themes for task 2. We have task 2, guys. So look at the names here. So basically, you might ask how I come up with this theme, and I'm sorry, there are some themes where I can't really randomize, ladies and gentlemen, for example. So the ratio is not quite the same if you look at that. But how I come up with the theme is basically based on your topics, okay, what you submitted on Padlet. So I want you, what you have to do is, okay, we'll have a presentation next week. Ha ha ha. Okay, so you guys, you discuss within your team, okay, and choose a specific topic. So you can develop a very quick presentation. I just want you to think about the topic. What are the topic, the research problem, the research question, and the hypothesis, okay? That's basically the only thing that you have to do. So it's not going to be like a 20 minutes presentation. No, it's very quick, because what I want you to develop right now is to have an idea, okay, where to start with your proposal. So you guys are, grouped into people that have quite similar research topic or areas, okay? So next week is a presentation. It's very quick one, 3rd of November. So let me just share briefly about something. Okay. I see we have a question in chat. Okay. Right. Okay, so this is actually your topics, guys. So that's how I group you, actually. So I know that it's sometimes quite general, and some of the topics might not truly fit into this, big. So waste management is usually, yes, there's a lot of people doing waste management, but like for the others, like social impact or awareness, there are some who are not, whose topic are not really on this, but it is quite, the areas interlap with each other. So that's how I hope that this is okay, all right? So we'll have 7 groups actually. And because I based this on your Padlet submission, so for now, the final submission was at 12 o'clock yesterday. I did mention try not to submit at last minute, but that's fine. So at 12 o'clock sharp, but at least we have, for now, we have 43. I don't know if, try and have a look at your, okay, let me stop there and go back to the slides, because I want you guys to look at the members in the team as well. Why is it not moving? Okay. My keyboard doesn't work right now. Okay. Team 1, team 2, team 3. Okay, until team 7. So does anyone? It's not there. That's my question. My first question.
Me, doctor. I'm not on the list.
Okay, where are you? What's your name? Why can I see your name?
My name is Hepu, H-E-P.
Oh, Hepu, okay. Right. So did you submit your topic? I think
Yes, I have, and before the due date.
yeah. I think I did read your name on Padlet, so I'm not sure why I missed this. Okay, so basically, is there only one person then? Anybody else who's not here, not on the team's name, if you can identify? So everyone is here, okay? 40, so we have 44 right now, plus helpful. Okay, no worries. I'll update that soon, in a few minutes maybe. So are you guys clear on what you have to do? Okay, this will be a group task, basically. Okay, everyone?
Okay.
All right. Okay, do you have any questions then? This is our tutorial session, the end of the tutorial session, basically. I will share the lecture this morning and the slides for this one in both Teams and Putra Blast, so you can use either. But the thing is, we can start using Teams for this task as well. So you can, if you want to, then you can, create a channel basically in Teams, because I think Teams is quite a handy app for, for interactions online, because there's a lot of applications as well that you can use to support what you're doing. Okay, but this is up to you guys. If you want to create channels, and you can. I think I set up the settings for EMG 4902 so that you guys can create your own channels as well. Okay, any other questions?
No.
No.
All right. Okay, so we can stop here for today. Okay, it's quite, around
Can we see the list?
sorry,
Can we see the list of the topic?
list of the topics. Oh, okay. So you guys can actually
Why
see.
not?
Yep.
Oh, one cup.
Okay, so it would be good if you can select the topic that all of you can agree on. I mean, because for example, team 1 and team 2, you guys are doing waste management, and these are either solid or wastewater, something like that. But try to come up with a topic that, is general enough so you guys can collaborate together. And what might be good is if you look at, certain issues or certain situations that relates to that big topic. So I'm giving you the topic here: waste management, social awareness, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't limit you to only choose that field, basically. So you can do anything, but of course relates to environmental management, of course. But I'm not limiting you guys to choose only from waste management, for example, for team 1. Okay, I hope that is clear.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay.
Clear.
All right, I will share everything soon. Give me like half an hour because I need to do some things as well. Okay.
Share it, Putra Blast or what? WhatsApp group?
I will do both Putra Blast and Microsoft Teams. Okay. I don't know if you guys realize, but in Teams as well, I've created the lecture and task channel, so you can actually access the notes there. But of course, in Putra Plus is also available. I mean, I didn't want to share in WhatsApp because it might be quite big. Because if you try to access that from your phone, then memory problem, for example.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you want to, then I can do that as well. I know a lot of us are doing WhatsApp desktop, so that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys want it on WhatsApp as well?
Both.
Oh, it's okay.
Both okay.
Both. All right. Okay,
Ah.
you can do that as well.
Okay, Doktor.
Okay.
Thank
all
you,
right.
Doktor.
You're welcome. Thank you everyone for joining. I'll see you next week. Prepare.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum.
doctor.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
Doctor.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Doctor.
Doctor.
You're welcome.
Thank
Serangan thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Doctor.
Okay.
Oh, lagi kedai. Anissa.